Commander Jack Weston stood tall as the elevator ascended toward the Galactic Council chambers. His blue Earth uniform felt tight around his neck, but he maintained his military bearing. Beside him, Lieutenant Lisa Donnelly checked her ceremonial sidearm once more. "Nervous?" Jack asked, noticing her fidgeting. "First aliens I've ever met," Lisa admitted, "and we're representing all of humanity." The Earth delegation had arrived at Centaurus Station just 3 days ago. After centuries of searching the stars, humans had finally achieved faster-than-light travel last year. Their first deep space probes had detected artificial signals, leading to this historic meeting. The elevator doors slid open to reveal a massive circular chamber. Beams of all shapes and sizes occupied tiered seating surrounding a central speaking platform. Some appeared almost human, while others defied description. Crystalline structures, vaporous clouds contained in mechanical shells, and entities that seemed to shift between physical states. A tall avian creature with iridescent plumage approached. "I am Krellnax, ambassador of the Jera Confederacy and council speaker. You are the humans." Jack stepped forward. "Commander Jack Weston, representing Earth and its colonies. We come in peace and friendship." Krellnax's head tilted at an unnatural angle. "Interesting. Your species has only recently achieved proper space travel, yet you presume to approach the Council as equals." Lisa felt her face flush, but maintained her diplomatic smile. The delegation was escorted to the central platform. Hundreds of alien representatives observed them with expressions ranging from curiosity to what Lisa could only interpret as disdain. Jack began his prepared speech. "Honored representatives of the Galactic Council, humanity extends its hand in friendship. We bring knowledge, culture, and a desire to learn from the greater galactic community." As Jack spoke, Lisa noticed several council members using small devices to scan their group. The blue-skinned humanoid with 4 arms leaned toward a gelatinous neighbor, whispering something that caused ripples of apparent amusement. "According to protocol," Jack continued, "we present our ceremonial arms as a sign of trust." Each human representative removed their sidearm, holding it flat on their palms. This traditional gesture, showing willingness to disarm, had been practiced for weeks. An immediate murmur swept through the chamber. Nax's feathers ruffled visibly. "You bring projectile weapons into the council." The words contained unmistakable disgust. "Ceremonial only," Jack explained. "An Earth tradition dating back centuries." A reptilian delegate stood. "They fire physical projectiles, using chemical propellants." "Yes," Jack answered cautiously, "though these are ceremonial versions." The chamber erupted in what could only be described as laughter, clicks, whistles, vibrations, and other alien sounds that universal translators interpreted as amusement. "Fascinating," said a crystalline entity, its voice ringing like glass chimes. "They've achieved star travel yet still rely on throwing metal bits at high velocity." Krellnax raised his wings for silence. "Commander Weston, the Council appreciates your quaint traditions. However, truly civilized species abandoned physical projectile weapons millennia ago. Modern warfare, when regrettably necessary, utilizes energy disruptors or psionic technologies." Lisa noticed smaller alien representatives exchanging glances. One, a diminutive green-skinned being, caught her eye briefly before looking away. "Our weapons technology serves us well," Jack replied diplomatically, "but we're eager to learn from the Council's advanced knowledge." "Indeed," Krellnax responded, "you have much to learn. The Council will deliberate on Earth's petition for membership. You will be summoned when we reach our decision." As they were escorted from the chamber, Lisa leaned toward Jack. "They were laughing at us." Jack nodded slightly. "Pride before the fall, Lieutenant. They might be advanced, but underestimating others is never wise." Outside the chamber, a small alien approached them furtively. "Humans," it whispered, "the Jeri find you amusing now, but be cautious. Their amusement quickly turns to threat when their dominance is questioned." Before they could respond, the alien hurried away, leaving the Earth delegation with their first warning about the politics of their new galactic neighborhood. 3 days after their initial presentation, the Earth delegation was summoned back to the council chambers. Jack noticed the atmosphere had changed. The curious stares had been replaced with calculating looks. Krellnack stood at the central podium, his iridescent feathers gleaming under the chamber lights. Behind him sat the council's executive committee, 7 representatives from the galaxy's most powerful civilizations. Vijeri held 3 seats. Commander Weston, the council has reached a decision regarding Earth's petition, Krellnax announced. His translator conveyed his voice with perfect clarity, but couldn't hide the underlying tone of superiority. Jack stepped forward, shoulders squared. We appreciate the council's consideration. Earth will be granted provisional membership, subject to certain conditions. Krellnax activated a hovering display that materialized between them. These terms are non-negotiable. Lisa scanned the document as it appeared. Her face remained neutral, but Jack could see the tension in her jaw. Condition 3 requires Earth to immediately cease production of all kinetic weapons, Jack read aloud, and surrender existing stockpiles for decommissioning. Correct, said Krellnax. Such primitive technologies have no place in civilized space. Your reliance on projectile weapons indicates a developmental shortcoming your species must overcome. Admiral Frank Miller, who had arrived yesterday to bolster the Earth delegation, stepped forward. The older man's weathered face revealed nothing of his thoughts. Ambassador Krellnax, Miller said calmly, with respect, Earth's defense policies remain under Earth's jurisdiction. A ripple of murmurs spread through the chamber. Several council members leaned forward in their seats. Perhaps I was unclear. Krellnax's feathers flattened against his body. These are the terms for your acceptance into galactic society. Refusal indicates Earth is not ready for membership. And if we choose to maintain our sovereignty, Miller asked. A female Jerry from the executive committee spoke up. Then you choose isolation. Council space would be closed to your vessels. Your colonies would receive no protection from pirates or other threats. You would be alone. Jack watched as several smaller council representatives shifted uncomfortably in their seats. The threat wasn't subtle. We require time to consult with our government, Jack said. You have 30 Earth days, Krellnax replied, after which the consequences of non-compliance will become apparent. As the delegation was escorted out, a small group of alien representatives approached them in the hallway. The green-skinned being who had caught Lisa's eye earlier seemed to be their spokesperson. Humans, I am Vril of the Talasi Federation, he said quietly. What you witnessed is how the Jerry operate. They demand submission wrapped in diplomacy. Why are you telling us this? Lisa asked. Because many of us have suffered under their protection, Vril replied. The Jerry Confederacy controls trade routes, technology exchange, and military response. They enforce dependency. Another alien, with 6 limbs and copper-colored skin, nodded. They demanded we abandon our defensive technologies too. Now we rely on their fleets for protection. Protection that sometimes arrives too late. And our weapons concern them why? Admiral Miller asked. The Jerry and other dominant species use energy-based weapons and shields, Vril explained. Your projectile weapons represent an unknown variable. The Council fears what they don't control. Back aboard their ship, the Earth delegation gathered to discuss their options. This isn't about weapons, Miller stated flatly. It's about control. Jack nodded. If we surrender our firearms, what's next? Our ships, our resources. We should return to Earth immediately, Lisa suggested. The President needs to hear this directly. Agreed, Miller said. And we should put our border colonies on alert. If that 30-day deadline is anything to go by, the Jerry aren't planning to wait for our answer. As their ship disengaged from the station, Jack watched the massive structure through the viewport. The gleaming symbol of galactic unity now seemed more threatening than welcoming. They laughed at our guns, he said quietly. Let's hope they never have reason to stop laughing. Major Diana Wells crouched behind the barricade, dust coating her face and combat armor. The colony outpost on Proxima Centauri had been peaceful just 6 hours ago. Now it was a battlefield. 23 days had passed since the Earth delegation returned from the Galactic Council with their ultimatum. Not even the full 30 days they had been promised. Status report, she barked into her comm. Eastern perimeter holding, came the reply from Sergeant Ryan Ellis. They keep hitting our shields with those energy weapons, but the reinforced barriers are holding. Diana peered over the barricade. The Jerry forces had surrounded the main colony complex with 5 of their crescent-shaped warships. Their ground troops, tall avian warriors in gleaming armor, had expected a quick victory. They hadn't counted on human resistance. They're moving in again, called Private Jenna Harrison from her sniper position. Same formation as before. The Jerry approached behind portable energy shields that shimmered like heat waves. Their confidence was evident in their steady advance. According to intelligence, these shields could stop any energy weapon in the galaxy. Wait for my mark. Diana ordered as 50 Jerry soldiers moved closer. Let them get within optimal range. The colony's own energy shield dome flickered overhead. It had been damaged in the initial assault but still prevented the Jerry ships from simply bombing them from orbit. The invaders needed to enter the colony on foot. Now, Diana shouted when the Jerry reached the designated point. 20 human defenders rose from various positions and opened fire with standard-issue rifles. The sound of gunfire echoed across the battlefield, a sound the Jerry had never heard in combat. The effect was immediate and devastating. The solid bullets passed through the Jerry energy shields as if they weren't there. The first line of attackers fell, their bodies crumpling to the red Proxima dust. They don't understand what's happening. Ellis called out, excitement in his voice. Their shields are calibrated for energy weapons only. The Jerry forces fell back in disarray, their commanders screeching orders in their native language. Several tried to return fire with their energy pistols, but the human defenders were already back behind cover. Diana activated her tactical display. They're regrouping. Conserve ammunition and prepare for their next approach. Over the colony's communication system, they intercepted Jerry transmissions. The universal translator rendered their panicked reports. Shields malfunctioning. Unknown weapon type. Request immediate tactical analysis. They really had no idea, muttered Harrison from her position. They'd never fought against physical projectiles before. The Jerry adjusted quickly. Their next assault came with heavier armor rather than relying solely on their energy shields. But conventional armor had its own weaknesses against kinetic weapons. The battle continued for hours, with the Jerry taking heavy losses for each small advance. By nightfall, a Jerry commander approached the colony perimeter under a flag of truce. Diana met him at the boundary, her sidearm holstered but visible. Your weapons, the Jerry said, his translator struggling with his agitated state. They violate conventional warfare protocols. Diana kept her expression neutral. No, they simply exploit a weakness in your defenses that you never considered. The Council will hear of this barbarism, the commander hissed. The Council will hear that you attacked a peaceful human colony before your own deadline expired, Diana countered, and that humans successfully defended themselves. The Jerry commander's feathers bristled with what Diana recognized as anger or perhaps fear. This conflict is only beginning, human, he said before turning away. As the Jerry forces retreated to their ships, Diana watched the colony's medical team treating the wounded. They had lost good people today, but they had also learned something crucial. The galaxy's most advanced civilizations had a significant blind spot in their defenses. Diana activated her long-range communicator. Earth Command, this is Major Wells at Proxima Outpost. The Jerry have withdrawn following their attack. They're no longer laughing at our guns. General Peter Hayes stood at the head of the war room table, his eyes fixed on the holographic display of Earth's territory and the surrounding Jerry-controlled systems. 12 of Earth's highest-ranking military officers and scientists had gathered for this emergency meeting. The Proxima defense was successful, but it was just the beginning. Hayes said, his voice grave. Our intelligence suggests the Jerry are mobilizing a much larger force. They're embarrassed and angry. Admiral Miller nodded. They expected an easy victory. Instead, they discovered their most basic defensive technology has a critical weakness against our primitive weapons. On a side screen, footage from the Proxima battle played. The images showed Jerry soldiers falling as bullets passed effortlessly through their energy shields. Dr. Rodriguez, what's your assessment? Hayes asked. Dr. Alan Rodriguez, Earth's leading weapons scientist, stepped forward. It's actually quite simple. Their shield technology evolved to counter energy-based threats, lasers, plasma, particle beams. Physical projectiles moving below a certain velocity don't even register on their defensive systems. Can they adapt? Miller asked. Eventually, Rodriguez replied, but their entire defensive doctrine would need to be redesigned. That won't happen overnight. Kate Wilson, head of ballistics research, pulled up her own display. We've been working on enhanced ammunition designed specifically to exploit this weakness. The screen showed specialized rounds with unusual compositions. These contain materials that will maximize damage against both their shields and their physical armor. Hayes surveyed the room. We need a response that demonstrates our capability without escalating to full-scale war. Ideas. We deploy a battle group to defend our colonies, Miller suggested. Show strength, but don't push into their territory. The diplomatic angle is equally important, said Ben Martinez, the military's diplomatic officer. I should return to the council with evidence of the Jerry aggression. Many smaller species might rally to our side if they see an alternative to Jerry dominance. Hayes considered this. Both approaches have merit. Martinez, prepare to depart for the council. Admiral Miller, assemble a task force of our 6 best ships. Your mission is defensive, but I want the Jerry to understand the cost of further aggression. The meeting continued as they finalized details. Production facilities across Earth were already being retooled to manufacture the specialized ammunition. Colony defenses were being reinforced. Training programs were adjusted to prepare for alien tactics. 3 days later, Ben Martinez stood before the Jerry ambassador in a private meeting room at Centaurus Station. Your attack on Proxima was unprovoked and premature, Martinez said calmly. It violated your own stated deadline. Krelnax's feathers rippled with irritation. A misunderstanding. Local commanders exceeded their authority. 37 human colonists died in this misunderstanding, Martinez countered, sliding over a data pad with evidence collected from the battle. Earth is prepared to defend all its territories with maximum force. Your primitive weapons caught our forces by surprise. Yes, Krelnax admitted. But do not mistake a single victory for superiority. The Jerry Confederacy commands technologies you cannot imagine. Martinez leaned forward. Perhaps, but our primitive ways may surprise you further if you continue this aggression. As Martinez spoke, Admiral Miller's battle group was already in transit to the edge of human space. The flagship, a heavy cruiser named Earth's Vanguard, carried newly developed railgun batteries alongside conventional missile systems. Captain Olivia Ramirez commanded the vessel with quiet confidence, her crew prepared for whatever awaited them. Back on Earth, production lines worked around the clock. Firearms that had been considered obsolete for terrestrial warfare were being manufactured again, alongside advanced versions designed specifically for space combat. Railguns, coilguns, and mass drivers were being fitted to every ship in Earth's growing fleet. They mocked what they didn't understand, Hayes said as he watched the preparations. Now they'll learn why humans never abandoned reliable technology just because something newer came along. In space, Miller's task force accelerated toward the border, where Jerry ships were already gathering. The first true test of humanity's place in the galaxy was about to begin. Captain Olivia Ramirez stood on the bridge of Earth's Resolve, watching the tactical display with steady eyes. Her ship led the human fleet at Arcturus Junction, a strategic point where several major trade routes converge. Intelligence reports had confirmed a large Jeri force was approaching. "All ships report ready, Captain," said her first officer, Lieutenant Sam Wilson. "Shields at maximum. Weapons systems online." Olivia nodded. "Open fleet-wide channel." When the communication officer signaled ready, she spoke clearly. "This is Captain Ramirez. We are here to defend human interests and demonstrate our resolve. Remember your training. The Jeri underestimate us. That's our advantage. Stay in formation and wait for my orders." The bridge crew worked with focused efficiency. Unlike the sleek, almost sterile command centers of Jeri vessels, human ships embraced a practical, somewhat industrial aesthetic. Screens displayed information from various ship systems, while officers called out reports at regular intervals. "Contact," announced the sensor officer. "Multiple ships dropping out of FTL. Jeri signatures confirmed." The main screen showed 7 crescent-shaped warships materializing against the star-filled backdrop. They were larger than the human vessels, their hulls gleaming with a metallic blue sheen that seemed to absorb rather than reflect light. "They're hailing us," reported communications. On screen, Olivia ordered. The face that appeared belonged to a senior Jeri commander. His plumage was decorated with metallic ornaments that signified high rank. "I am Fleet Commander Vox Thul of the Jeri Confederacy," he announced. "Your presence in this sector violates Council security protocols. Withdraw immediately." Olivia met his gaze without flinching. "This is neutral space, Commander. We are here lawfully, protecting our shipping routes." Vox Thul's head tilted in what humans had learned was a gesture of contempt. "Your primitive vessels are no match for Jeri technology. The incident at Proxima was an anomaly. Leave now or be destroyed." "We decline," Olivia replied simply, then cut the transmission. The Jeri ships moved into attack formation with practiced precision. The first energy blast struck the human shields moments later. "Shields holding at 80%, reported the defense officer. "Their weapons are powerful, but our new deflectors are working." Olivia watched as the human fleet returned fire with their energy weapons. The exchange continued for several minutes, with both sides taking minor damage. "They're testing us," Olivia observed, holding back their main force. She tapped her console. "All ships, prepare railgun batteries. Target their lead vessel. Fire on my mark." The Jeri commander's voice broke through on an open channel. "Your energy weapons are inadequate, humans. Surrender now and—" "Fire," Olivia ordered calmly. 6 human ships simultaneously launched their first volley of physical projectiles. Massive railgun slugs accelerated to tremendous speeds, crossing the space between the fleets in seconds. Just as at Proxima, the Jeri shields, calibrated for energy weapons, failed to stop the kinetic rounds. The lead Jeri vessel shuddered as multiple impacts tore through its hull. Secondary explosions bloomed along its port side. "Direct hits," confirmed the weapons officer. Their shields had no effect. Olivia leaned forward. "Launch missile barrage, all ships. Target their propulsion systems." The human fleet released a wave of missiles, another weapon type the Jeri had considered obsolete. The Jeri point defense systems, designed to counter energy attacks, struggled to track and destroy the physical projectiles. 3 more Jeri ships took heavy damage before they began to retreat. "They're falling back," Wilson said, not bothering to hide his surprise at how quickly the battle had turned. On the communications channel, they could hear the Jeri commander's frantic orders. "All ships, emergency withdrawal. Their weapons are penetrating our shields. Report shield anomaly to Central Command." Olivia watched the Jeri fleet retreat, some ships trailing debris and venting atmosphere. She kept her expression professional, but allowed herself a small nod of satisfaction. "Stand down to condition yellow," she ordered. "Damage reports from all ships, and get me a secure channel to Earth Command." As the adrenaline of battle faded, the bridge crew exchanged glances of cautious victory. They had just won the first major engagement against the galaxy's dominant military power. "They're not laughing anymore," Wilson said quietly. "No," Olivia agreed. "Now they're afraid." The Galactic Council chamber buzzed with agitated voices. Representatives from 200 species filled the tiered seating, many standing in groups, gesturing emphatically. The emergency session had been called just hours after news of the Arcturus battle reached Centaurus Station. Commander Jack Weston stood with the Earth delegation at the entrance, taking in the scene. The atmosphere had transformed dramatically since their first appearance. Gone were the condescending looks and muffled laughter. Now, council members regarded them with expressions ranging from curiosity to respect, and in some cases, fear. "The chamber is ready for you," said a small reptilian attendant, avoiding direct eye contact. As the humans walked toward the central platform, Jack noticed many smaller species nodding subtly in their direction. The executive committee seats were filled, but the Jerry representatives looked distinctly uncomfortable. Krellnack stepped to the speaker's podium, his normally immaculate plumage disheveled. "This emergency session will address the human violation of Council peace protocols and their use of prohibited weapons technology." Before Jack could respond, a representative from the Talasi Federation rose. "Point of order. There are no Council protocols prohibiting kinetic weapons. The Jerry merely assumed superiority of energy-based systems." Murmurs of agreement spread through the chamber. Furthermore, the Talesi continued, "Our information indicates the Jerry attacked a human colony before their own stated deadline expired." Krellnax's feathers bristled. "The humans have destabilized galactic security with their primitive warfare." Jack stepped forward. "The Council should review the evidence before making judgments." He activated a holographic projector. "This footage shows unprovoked Jerry aggression against our Proxima colony." The chamber watched in silence as the attack footage played, showing Jerry ships firing on civilian structures. The recording continued through the ground assault and the surprising effectiveness of human firearms against Jerry shields. "The Jerry attacked, expecting easy victory," Jack said calmly. "They found instead that their technology had a critical vulnerability." A crystalline being from the Science Directorate floated forward. "I am Gemlor, Chief Technologist. We have analyzed the battle data." The being's voice resonated like wind chimes. "The human observation is correct. Standard shield configurations ignore objects below certain velocity and energy thresholds. This oversight developed because no advanced species has used physical projectiles in warfare for millennia." The council chambers erupted in overlapping conversations. Jack signaled to Vincent Diaz, the security officer who had accompanied their delegation. Diaz stepped forward, carrying a case. "With the council's permission," Jack said, "we would like to demonstrate." After receiving cautious approval, Diaz opened the case to reveal a standard-issue handgun. A transparent energy shield was activated in the demonstration area. "This shield is identical to standard Jerry military specifications," Gemlor confirmed. Diaz aimed at a target behind the shield and fired once. The sound made many council members flinch. The bullet passed through the shield, as if it weren't there, striking the target cleanly. Stunned silence followed. A Jerry Executive Committee member rose. "The humans must surrender this technology. It threatens galactic stability." This prompted immediate objections from dozens of representatives. Jack noticed that many smaller species were particularly vocal in opposing the Jerry demand. An elder Mirok, one of the oldest council races, raised all four hands for attention. "For too long, the Jerry have enforced their technological paradigm on the council. Perhaps it is time to reconsider our defensive doctrines." Jack watched as political alliances visibly shifted before his eyes. Species that had previously deferred to Jerry leadership now clustered with others, speaking urgently. "What we witnessed today is not just a weapons demonstration," the Mirok continued. "It is evidence that diversity of approach brings strength. The Jerry forgot this wisdom, to their cost." From his position, Jack could see Krellnax conferring frantically with other Jerry representatives. Their body language suggested panic. The council speaker, a neutral administrator, stepped forward. This session will recess for one day while the executive committee considers the implications of today's revelations. As the session disbanded, representatives from dozens of species approached the human delegation. "The balance is shifting," one whispered to Jack. "For the first time in centuries, the Jerry dominance is being questioned." Jack nodded. "We came seeking peaceful cooperation, not dominance." 1 month after the emergency session, the newly restructured Galactic Council convened in a spirit of cautious optimism. The Grand Chamber had been rearranged. The Executive Committee now included representatives from 12 species rather than 7, with seats allocated by population rather than technological advancement. A Jerry delegate remained, but no longer held the central position. Commander Jack Weston sat with Admiral Miller and Lieutenant Lisa Donnelly at the Earth delegation's new permanent station. The revised council charter had been ratified yesterday, granting humans full membership without weapons restrictions. "This council session is called to order," announced the new speaker, a Talasi elder chosen for his reputation for fairness. "Today we formalize several alliance agreements and technology exchange protocols." Jack observed the chamber with quiet satisfaction. The political landscape had transformed rapidly after the Arcturus battle. Once the Jerry military advantage was questioned, numerous species had stepped forward with grievances about Jerry dominance. Within days, a coalition of 27 species had formed, requesting Earth's assistance in defense matters. "The first matter before the Council is the ratification of the Mutual Defense Pact," the speaker continued. On the main display, the treaty appeared, bearing the signatures of Earth representatives alongside those of 11 formerly subjugated species. The agreement established joint defense protocols and technology sharing, including human weapons designs and training. Lisa leaned toward Jack. "Did you ever imagine our primitive guns would lead to this?" Jack shook his head. "I expected resistance, not revolution." The Jerry delegate, a subdued replacement for the disgraced Krellnax, watched the proceedings with rigid posture. The Confederacy had been forced to accept significant concessions after their military defeats. Their territory remained intact, but their political influence had collapsed. "The Council recognizes Ambassador Vril of the Talasi Federation," announced the speaker. Vril, the small green being who had first warned the humans about Jerry tactics, stepped to the podium. "Fellow Council members, the events of recent months have taught us a valuable lesson. Dominance based on technological monopoly created stagnation. The humans reminded us that innovation comes from diversity of thought." Murmurs of agreement rippled through the chamber. "Therefore," Vril continued, "I propose the establishment of an interspecies military academy, where tactics and technologies from all member species can be studied and shared." The motion passed with overwhelming support. Lisa Donnelly was immediately nominated to serve as Earth's representative to the Academy's founding board. "Lieutenant Donnelly, do you accept this appointment?" asked the speaker. Lisa stood, surprised but composed. "I do, with honor." After the session concluded, various representatives mingled in the reception hall. Jack noticed how different the atmosphere was from their first visit. Where once there had been mockery, now there was respect and genuine curiosity. Dr. Alan Rodriguez demonstrated modifications to a standard firearm to an interested group of alien scientists. The weapon had been adapted for various physiologies, allowing species with different limb structures to operate it effectively. In another corner, Kate Wilson showed holographic simulations of new shield designs that could block both energy and kinetic weapons. The technology combined human ballistic principles with alien energy manipulation. Admiral Miller approached Jack, holding a drink of blue liquid. "Not a bad outcome, considering we were nearly laughed out of the galaxy a few months ago." "The Jerry made a fundamental mistake," Jack replied. "They confused technological advancement with evolutionary superiority. A common error throughout history," Miller said. Every dominant power eventually faces an unexpected challenge to their supremacy. Across the hall, a group of mixed-species military officers were examining Earth firearms with professional interest. Among them was a young Jerry officer, putting aside traditional prejudice to learn new techniques. An elderly council member who had observed the entire chain of events from the beginning approached Jack. The alien's translucent skin pulsed with gentle colors as it spoke. "Commander Weston, I have lived for 3 centuries and witnessed many shifts in galactic politics. Few have been as profound or as swift as what your species has triggered. We didn't intend to disrupt the established order," Jack said honestly. "Perhaps not," the elder replied. "But sometimes the greatest changes come from the most unexpected sources." The alien's colors shifted to a thoughtful blue. "Perhaps we should have asked what those guns could do before we laughed at them."